Pope Francis died at the age of 88. When a pope dies, the Catholic Church begins one of the world's oldest continuously operating electoral systems, the Papal Conclave, a centuries-old process by which the Catholic Church selects a new pope. The word conclave comes from the Latin cum clave, meaning with a key. And that's not just poetic. The Papal Conclave literally involves the cardinals locking themselves in a room until they reach a decision. No distractions, no outside influence. In the early centuries of the Catholic Church, there was not a consensus institutional method for choosing a pope. Sometimes a pope selected his own successor, sometimes local politicians and rulers got involved. The whole process could get messy. Then in 1274, conclaves were formalized by Pope Gregory X, who issued Ubi Periculum, a decree that officially established the rules of the conclave, complete with locked doors and limited outside contact. The goal was to bring order to a process that had often been chaotic, 13 by Pope Benedict XVI. This document is essentially the blueprint for modern papal elections, laying out everything from who the electors are to how ballots are conducted. When a pope dies, the church enters a period of sede vacante, Latin for vacant seat, and a somber but meticulous process kicks off. A cardinal appointed to manage the papal household called the Camerlengo assumes a critical role. He declares the seat vacant, secures the late pope's personal effects, seals the knowledge of cardinals. Cardinals are senior clergy appointed by the pope. They're usually bishops, and they serve as the pope's closest advisors. They're also the ones responsible for electing the next pope. Technically, any baptized Catholic man is eligible to be pope, even someone who isn't a priest. But in practice, for the last several centuries, every pope has been chosen from among the cardinals. During this period of sede vacante, they govern only in a very limited capacity, observing the principle nihil innovator. Nothing new is to be enacted. As in, the cardinals can only handle routine business and matters that can't wait. They can't issue any new teachings, they can't make major appointments or policy changes that are reserved only for the Pope. Most Vatican officials, like the Secretary of State and heads of departments, also suspend their active duties. From the moment the Pope is pronounced dead, the cardinals have 15 to 20 days to gather in the Vatican from all over the world to join the conclave. Only cardinals under the age of 80 are allowed to vote, which was a rule instituted in 1970 by Pope Paul VI. As of 2025, there are 252 cardinals, and only 135 of them are eligible to vote. Even though those over the age of 80 are not eligible to vote, they can still join the preliminary meetings in Rome before the conclave, discussing the needs of the church and what qualities the next pope should have. And any cardinal who is eligible to vote, but for serious reasons can't attend, like severe illness, is simply absent. There is no voting by proxy. On the morning the conclave is to begin, all the cardinal electors gather for a special mass in St. Peter's Basilica, called the Mass pro eligendo pontifice, for the election of a pope. This mass invokes the guidance of the Holy Spirit as the cardinals prepare to undertake one of the most important decisions of their lives. After mass, the cardinal electors then gather in one of the most iconic buildings in Vatican City, the Sistine Chapel, to the rules. They also swear not to be influenced by ceiling painted by Michelangelo. But during a conclave, the chapel becomes a voting chamber, carefully prepared for secrecy and security. Inside the chapel, each cardinal takes an oath of secrecy and fidelity to the rules of any kind. Secrecy as well. In Latin, eligo in summum pontificem. I elect to in the afternoon. The ballot is concluded, the outside world waits for a signal from the Sistine Chapel chimney. If that sends out white smoke, the signal that habemus papam, we have a pope. A successful election requires cardinals gradually coalesce around a candidate. Often the early ballots are extabili or popables begin to emerge by the second day. If no candidate has reached an impasse, reached a consensus well before this stage. In practice, most conclaves of the last second off. The dean of the cardinals asks, "Do you accept?" Your new pope then chooses a called the Room of Tears because it's said that many popes have wept here, overcome with emotion. Once vested, he receives the obedience of the habemus papam, followed by the pope's birth name and chosen papal name in Latin. Moments later, the new pope appears on the balcony and greets the chapter. Hey folks, thanks for watching. I'd like to invite you to a guest-time friend of the channel. Now, if you're exploring in recent years, he's a scholar. Everyone who registers will get